Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, my name is Emma, and let's play a quick round of Never Have I Ever Overachiever Edition. The name of the game is very simple. I will be saying 5 different tendencies, and if you resonate with any one of these, put down a finger, and if you run out of fingers, then maybe this video is for you. First one, you run on the belief that the biggest competition there is yourself, and the only competition ever worth outdoing is yourself. You never feel like you're doing quite enough, and even though people tell you that you're doing more than enough, you don't really believe them, and you always feel like you could be doing more. The only time when you actually do nothing is when you're physically on bed rest, when your body knocks you out with a fever and you can't do anything. Okay, my fingers don't work this way, so you can pull yourself together for big crises, big work or school projects, and at times you may be peeved a little, maybe you're a little bit perturbed, but what you lose your shit over are minor inconveniences, like maybe burning the toast in the morning or spilling your coffee. Last but not least, you operate off of the belief that maximum effort exerted equals bare minimum. So how many fingers are you left with? Which of these tendencies do you resonate with? If all of your 5 fingers are down, you know what that means. Welcome to the club of the overachievers who are trying to get out of those tendencies. We're not here to stay, y'all. We're here to find a way to get out. In all seriousness, overachieving is a tendency, is a tool, as is anything, and it has served me quite well over a long period of my life, mostly when it relates to school. And the only reason I'm bringing it up now is that it has gotten in the way of my quality of life. And it's not like a new discovery either. I became more aware of this around 20 years old when I started to finally burn out after 4 years of uni and working and internships and all that's good stuff. I'm 26 now, so it's been a hot minute, guys. And yes, over the last 5 or 6 years, I have been trying to navigate that better and kind of undo this way of operating. And my mom is probably the greatest advocate in my life for telling me to slow down, Emma, do less, study less, work less. But somehow, for some reason, no matter how many times she has said that, sure, I will tone it down for a little bit, but then that urge, that sentiment that I'm never doing enough always resurfaces. And it was only until recently that I realized what the underlying program or pattern I was running off of was called. And that was the belief that maximum effort exerted equals the bare minimum. Growing up, I had always perceived myself as not being the brightest in the family. Between my brother and I, he is objectively much more intelligent, and that is something I'm very proud of when I talk to other people about him, is that he's both book smart and street smart, for the most part. And whenever I'm praised for academic achievements, I've been told to say, in Vietnamese, it is "Cần cù bù thông minh," which translates roughly to "my hard work makes up for where I lack in intelligence." And that has been my response most of the time when I was a kid to praise as a way of practicing humility. Like I was saying, my mom is very supportive of my brother and I's health, our mental health, growing up. And we never had the pressure of attaining a certain grade in school, ever. It's to the point where whenever we got a bad score at school, the first thing we would want to do, or at least the first thing that I would want to do, is call my mom or come home and tell her that I got this really bad score so that she would comfort me and I would find solace in that. She would even buy me some treats to cheer me up. But yeah, basically there was no pressure around grades in my home. But somehow under that roof, my parents were able to bring up 2 overachievers. And by the time I reached middle school, high school-ish, you'd never have to tell me once to go study. I'd probably do that by myself. Whenever I got a bad grade and I come home, the only thing my mom would ever ask is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much effort did you put in? And I would reflect upon how much or how little I studied in preparation for that test, or whether I was distracted during the test for whatever reason. Obviously, 1 is no effort. And to me, in my head, 10 means maxing out in every way possible. Point blank, period. So it's basically on a scale of nothing to bed rest. If I'm physically still breathing, I still have more effort to exert. And this was not what my mom meant at all. I had a conversation with her like 2 weeks back. She said that that was never her intention at all. To her, 10 maximum was the reasonable, logical, sensible amount of effort to put into a given task, depending on how much time you can dedicate towards it and your interest levels and what is expected of you, if at all. So the phrase verbatim in Vietnamese is "Con cố gắng bao nhiêu rồi? Con cố gắng hết sức chưa?" And that sentence just implies like, did you try? But word for word, did you try until you had no power left, until you had no energy left? And I internalized that very literally, I would say. And honestly, a different kid would not internalize it like that. It's just that I have certain tendencies, and this really played to that. So the first step towards freeing myself from this notion is being aware that I have this tendency to begin with. Over the years, no matter how much people would praise me or give me validation or telling me that I'm doing more than enough, I could never quite convince myself that that is the case. I could never quite believe them. So I guess it's true what they say, that ultimately it comes down to you and how you think about yourself, and essentially the beliefs that you tell yourself. In the recent years, as I've been trying to unlearn that, I've also realized that I do have a pretty powerful sense of intuition. And your intuition just kind of knows what you should be doing, what you need to be doing, who you need to be around, what is the experience that will be the most fulfilling for you. And I feel like being able to listen to your intuition is kind of how life surprises you at times, because honestly, sometimes there is no logical explanation for the things that your intuition tells you to do. So now that I know this tendency, what have I done about it? At the end of last year, a couple of friends and I were talking about like New Year's intentions, reflections on what we could be doing better, what we could be eliminating from our lives, and things like that. And one of my friends was saying how she does a weekly review of her life. She would sit down and list out all the tasks that she completed and any thoughts and feelings she has related to that. And at the end of the week, she would take stock of everything and tweak things around for the next week. I thought that was a great way to live a little bit more intentionally, because I did feel like I was drifting around more often than not by the final quarter of 2025. So I did that for about 10 days. And I realized people have been right. I do a lot. I do a lot. Arguably a little bit too much. And it's strange that even though I do a lot, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough. So in that thread of logic, there is a lapse in judgment somewhere, obviously. Because the thing is, when I'm operating like this, I'm often quite high-strung. Yeah, it's just not a pleasant state to be in for a prolonged amount of time. Not to mention the effect that it has on your physiology with all the stress hormones that are produced as a result of being high-strung all the time, right? So the first step was realizing that I have this pattern. Second step was proving to myself that I was doing too much. So it's perfectly sensible for me to tone it back. And another thing I've been doing these last few months is having a no agenda day. It's basically a day where I have no plans. Besides my usual responsibilities that have to be completed no matter what, I will decide then and there what I feel like doing. It could be suddenly I have a burst of inspiration and I feel like playing the piano. 10 minutes in, I get bored, I will stand up and do something else. I will not think about the next task that I want to do until I stand up from that piano. And in that instance, I will decide based on how I feel what I want to do next. I've caught myself while doing certain tasks to be always thinking ahead of the next task that I should be doing or want to be doing. So within this no agenda day, I would remind myself to pull myself back to this task that I'm doing right now. And we'll figure out the next task when the time for that comes, you know? So far, it has helped me a lot with being more present, with being a little bit less anxious. But the fact that I have to call like a regular day, a no agenda day, I have to set myself a challenge to do nothing, speaks volumes, right? So The goal is that eventually I will be able to manage the amount of effort that I feel is sensible to invest into any one thing. And truth be told, I'm still trying to navigate this. This is not an end-all be-all video. These are the steps I've been taking and it's been working more or less. Do you guys see yourself in this at all? Or what have you done to release yourself from these tendencies and how has that gone for you? So far, as I've been implementing this, making more space for my intuition to come forward, making space for life to surprise me, expecting life to surprise me, actually, life has been surprising me unexpectedly. And you sort of like, you have no choice but to sit back and marvel at the way that the world works, setting things up in a way that you could never imagine with your own mind, letting you meet certain people who are meant to be in your lives, certain opportunities. It's very synchronous, very serendipitous. If overachieving is still working for you, then there is no reason to change it. But if you feel like it is boxing you in, maybe holding you back, then welcome to the club. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. You guys have a wonderful week and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.